What's going on? It's your boy Sermon at Sermon's Domain on Twitter. In honor of Mac Miller's fourth studio album coming out this Friday titled The Divine Feminine, I decided to do a discussion about your favorite Mac Miller songs. So let me know what they are in the comment section and I'm going to give you mine now. So first one on my list, and these are in no particular order, and it's also not limited to just these choices because Mac Miller, just going through his catalog, he has a lot of great records. It's hard to pick. And I've been a fan since like day one. So I had a lot to work with, a lot of memories to pull from. And the first one that I wanted to pull off the list is The Spins from K.I.D.S. I just felt like the vibe on that is just so great. I don't think lyrically Mac was there yet, but he had like the flows and he was able to use like samples to his advantage, and I think that's what makes The Spin so great. It's like an old school sounding record, kind of like one that you'd hear at a packed roller rink on a Saturday night. So it's kind of crazy to think back to the whole Kids era because that's when Mac really took off, and he's only gotten better as an artist. But if you look back at like Kids and look at some of the videos on YouTube, you see like those were some of his biggest numbers. And then now that he's gotten better, it's almost like he's cut out all the filler fans, the people that were just on the bandwagon for a little bit. And I get it, Mac has definitely changed since Kids. He doesn't make that type of music anymore. He's more of a complete artist in my opinion. It's crazy to think about how Kids is probably one of his most successful projects ever, at least on the mixtape front. It's hard to compare the mixtapes to the albums because his debut album sold a lot, but as far as mixtapes go, this is probably his biggest just in terms of the numbers across, online, and the reception that it got. And this was a project that really put Mac on the map. Jumping ahead a few years, another one on my list is The Star Room. It's the intro off Watching Movies with the Sound Off, and I think it worked well to capture what the entire album is about. Like, at this point, Mac was already displaying that sort of change in his career. Blue Slide Park sounds nothing like Watching Movies with the Sound Off, and you had Macadelic, which was serving as like a transition period for him. Like, you got to see more of the artist, and then he continued to come out on Watching Movies with the Sound Off. That's why it's still today my favorite Mac Miller album. The Star Room was a strong intro for the album, and I love that it is pretty much just Mac kind of getting his thoughts off. He talks about his failed drug experience. He talks about comparing himself to JFK's final speech, and he also introduces us to one of his weirder personas in Delusional Thomas. So on top of that, it's produced by Earl Sweatshirt, and I'm not a big fan, but I can say that he killed that beat. Another record on my list, and one that really wasn't tied to any projects. It was tied to a Prodigy mixtape, but as far as like Mac's catalog, it was just put out randomly on SoundCloud. It's called Confessions of a Cash Register. It features Prodigy. With Alchemist on the beat, and Prodigy sounding just as good as he's ever sounded, I think this is a very underrated gem in Mac's catalog. You had Prodigy, he came through blazing. He had lines like, "I'll put your face in your cornflakes, mob style." And then there's the friendly reminder that there's too much dough out there to be broke. For me, I think Mac outshined Prodigy in this case just because his verse was more focused. I think Prodigy was more like, he stuck to the topic, of course, but it was more of a loose base, where Mac actually had somebody robbing. He was telling that tale of somebody trying to, get that money from the cash register. His flow to me was just so clean. The last song that I wanted to highlight, and perhaps the best Mac Miller song ever, is his Blog is Hot freestyle. Again, this is probably it's even more underrated than Confessions of a Cash Register. And I say that because it doesn't have too many views on YouTube. So why is this making the list? Well, it features a shout out to yours truly. So I have to include that on the list. It was a cool moment for me when I was running my blog Sermons Domain back in, man, what, I don't even remember what year. It was like, it had to be 2010. More than likely it was 2010 because it was before Mac really blew up. So those are just a few of the picks for my favorite Mac Miller songs. I continue to look through his catalog, and there's a bunch that I could have picked out and talked about, but I wanted to highlight just a few, and then I wanted to open up the floor to you guys at home watching. What are your favorite Mac Miller songs? Let me know in the comment section why you like it. And then like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you're not already, share the video. Follow me on Twitter at Sermons Domain. And as always, thank you for your time. I appreciate you for watching. And until next time, peace.